Hello, listeners. This is Clarion Kodamanchili, the host of the InnoHEALTH Magazine podcast. Welcomes you to this edition of the podcast hosted and produced by Innovation Curious with a mission to spread awareness and knowledge of various facets of healthcare innovation through conferences, webinars, magazine publication, training, consulting, and market access programs. Check out the links available in the description below. This podcast is 32nd episode of the InnoHEALTH Magazine and contains a narrative of the InnoHEALTH Magazine Volume 6, Issue 6 Summary. The review is composed and narrated by Dr. Debleena Bhattacharya, who is the Associate Editor for InnoHEALTH Magazine. Let us invite Dr. Debleena to take us through the summary of the magazine.
Thank you, Clarion. So here the first comes the executive opinion by Dr. V.K. Singh, where he mentions about the lessons of pandemic to take us to endemic. So he mentions the adversity that teaches us a lesson. So in the present pandemic, which started in the early 2020, it has made us all to think a lot about it because health was never the priority for the planners. But this pandemic has boosted the healthcare and has become the top priority for leaders, bureaucrats, health planners, and even the citizens. So a new thinking has emerged where the government has launched a digital health mission, a national health authority, which facilitates additional hospital beds by planning a medical college in each district, which would not only create hospital beds, but also train the manpower who are badly needed for the healthcare. So this pandemic has taught us a lot. So adversity has given us the moment in which we can flourish and in which we can recreate the staggering healthcare that we were having till now. So the resources as required have not been allocated to healthcare in the last 7 decades, but India spent 1.8% GDP on healthcare in 2021, while it was 1 to 1.5% in previous year, while US spent 16.9%. So it is mentioned that we need to develop a resilient healthcare delivery system and implement it at the earliest. So this is the executive opinion. Then we come to the next article that is pertaining to the persona, where the innovative journey of a multidimensional medical practitioner, Dr. Jaydeek Shattur Vedi, who gave us his viewpoints for balancing the professional and the personal endeavor. So he is an ENT surgeon, stand-up comedian, and CEO of HIIH Innovations Private Limited. So he has co-invented and developed 18 affordable medical devices and has also been recognized by Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Boston for his renderings. So the next column is about the robust immunity. So before going for the robust immunity, that is a guest column, this interview is very interesting one pertaining to the journey of an innovator, the journey of a medical practitioner, and a journey of a stand-up comedian. So you will thoroughly enjoy this journey. Let's go to the guest column. And in this guest column, we have Miss Ishi Khosla. So she mentioned about the robust immunity, which assures strong and healthy nation. And she, in her own way, have taken the opportunity to not just preach, but also showcase a model to manufacture and retail safe foods high on nutrients, as well as functional foods free of undesirable constituents like chemical additives, trans fats using healthy ingredients. Apart from this, the allergen-free foods, including gluten and dairy-free one. Then we go for the innovation section, where we have mentioned about the India's first CT-guided minimal invasive neurosurgery done by a team of doctors from the MGM Healthcare Chennai. So the team has performed radiofrequency procedures on other organs of the body, but undertaking a radiofrequency surgery for C2 dorsal root ganglion under CT guidance is something that is done especially by this team of doctors from MGM Healthcare. Then there is a contactless thermal scanner rolled out to aid fight against your COVID-19. and it was designed by a team of engineers from IIT Bombay. So what is the USP of this product? It is that along with being a contactless thermal scanner, it can also screen blood oxygen, pulse, and respiration rate of the user. There is no requisite of a human observation or intervention. Then there is a super mask that is designed by Swiss hygiene company Living Guard Technologies, and it was developed with the aim to provide a COVID-free world as it can directly inactivate viruses and bacteria. This mask is reusable for 210 times. So eventually it can curtail 36,000 tons of waste than a regular mask. So that was indeed something that we should go for, as it is important for the environment also, and also for the next generation who are going to face the problems of COVID that is giving out all this, the byproducts of the COVID that is coming out. So this mask cost around 1490 to 1990, depending on the type of mask a person opts for. So, and this 99 and this antiviral technology is further proven by University of Berlin, where it mentioned that its layers destroys 99.9% of the COVID-19 viruses. Then there is snippets of news pertaining to acquired pharmacy that it was initially founded by Saurabh Pandey and Mahadevan Narayan Mani in 2018, a cloud-based hospital supply chain management startup that is based in Bangalore, India. They have bought by online pharmacy, that is pharmacy. So they have done well in the recent past, showing that its monthly income growing at the rate of 10% by the end of the financial year. So they offer procurement solutions to more than 1,200 hospitals, and it includes clients from Columbia Asia, Narayana Health, and Manipal Health Clinics. So something that is coming up by and is acquired by pharmacy. And the next one, it is mentioned that in less than 60 days, more than 50,000 nurses were trained across India to deal with the COVID-19. So, and this step was taken forward by an NGO, Generation India, in collaboration with Columbia Asia Hospital, UNESCO, Learned Skills Limited, and AVP News. So they trained the workforce, and it has been an asset to our country, and it will ensure more efficient means management of your COVID-19. Then the next article is about Hydra Cup, which tackles the dehydration in care homes. And it was designed by Aquarate Limited to deal with the dehydration in the care homes of the elderly people. So the use of Hydra Cup is expected to reduce dehydration in the users, thereby bringing an overall improvement in the moods of the elderly and reducing the disrupted sleep patterns and stimulating their appetite. So all this information was compiled by Dr. Avantika Batish. Now, the next article is by Preeti, where she is mentioning about the roadmaps that guides and shows the possibilities in life. She mentioned about a 22-year-old girl and her struggle to stand up against her delayed development due to cerebral palsy. So it is indeed a motivating article. So the next article is about cannabinoids and cannabis fascination by Dr. Jagjeet Singh Gill, who shows the positive use of cannabis to reduce nausea and vomiting that is more prevalent in the chemotherapeutic patients, and also reduce the chronic pain and muscle spasm, and also they improve the appetite in people with HIV and AIDS. So we already in our society, we term the cannabinoids as something that is used for drugs and all that, but they have also the medical benefits that is recognized nowadays. The next article is very interesting, and it is written by Eileen J., where she mentions about the important role played by the medical clowns in healthcare, which brings in the rehabilitative process in patients, parents, staff, and everyone. So, associated with the bubble of healthcare, and they are constantly under stress. And during this pandemic, they are definitely the people who needed this type of medical clowns to cheer up, to boost up the amount of good work that they are rendering to the society. The next article is written by Dr. Alhar Mulkalwar, who reflects the predicament of a student taking MBBS as a career choice and how one deals with the 5-year long, rigorous, and comprehensive course to transform oneself into a responsible doctor of tomorrow. He also mentions that before the lecture begins for the MBBS, if the faculty members of the respective departments gives an overview of all the different avenues for a career in that subject, then it will ignite a sense of passion and excitement in the students undergoing MBBS. Now comes an article pertaining to the future of the pathologist, and it is a personal journey written by Dr. Shubha HV, where she talks about her experience after leaving a job in COVID-19 phase and discovering her hobbies to stay agile and come up with solutions to deal with no job depressions. So the positive attitude has helped her to stay active, and her talent was again recognized by a corporate setup. As being a pathologist, the journey was indeed right for her. That was a personal experience that she shared. You will be liking it because it is something that where our mental peace has been a problem during this pandemic situation. So how she has coped up with the situation, how she came up with the situation, and how the positive attitude has helped her to lead a new avenue in her life, where she is moving from a healthcare to an corporate sector with the pathologist tag. Now the next article is written by me. It is about cyber attacks and its consequences in healthcare industry, where I have mentioned about the consequences of leakage of personal information, which will pose immediate crisis to public health, such as the epidemic of AIDS, enduring problems of injuries, and chronic illness, which is often hidden by people to continue their financial resources. So, in order to safeguard the lives of so many people, the healthcare data needs to be preserved in a robust manner. And the recent pandemic has aggravated the situation, as personal information nowadays is linked with the Aadhaar card, and the same is done for vaccination purpose. Invariably, we are risking the information of the individuals. And if we are not safeguarding this particular information, then there will be problems in the future for the citizens, and the hospitals will be facing, because the hospitals will be facing the damage of reputation of the hospital and the trust of the customers availing their services. And it will invariably decline, leading to the decline in the sales in the healthcare industry. So this was indeed a problem that has generated due to the recent use of internet, where some people are unaware that their personal data are taken, and then it can be malfunctioned or used for other purposes. Then there is an interesting article written by Lena Peterson about the use of bibliotherapy to manage the anxiety. And during the COVID-19 phase, we have seen that there was feelings of tension, worried thoughts, and psychological effects that brought a lot of changes in the blood pressures of the people during this COVID phase. So she came up with 3 categories. Like, reading keeps your brain healthy, and reading is the fiction in which it allows a person to escape the present reality, and also the self-help books that helps a lot to cope up with the anxiety and manage the anxiety problems. So she mentioned that how this bibliotherapy has offered a respite from anxiety. So then there is an interesting article by Dr. Gitika Ahuja who mentioned hybrid immunity for the finale for COVID-19. Hybrid immunity to SARS-CoV-2 substantially enhance the immune response and they confer a strong resistance against the volatile organic carbons. So development of hybrid immunity along with massive vaccination drive around the world could put an end or halt the COVID-19 pandemic for a significant amount of time. Then there is an interesting article pertaining to the new era of genomics written by Dr. Ishi Khosla Vedi and Miss Nikita Sabharwal, who mentions about new technologies in use for the healthcare precision medicine. And it is an emerging approach for disease treatment and prevention that takes into account individual variability in genes, environment, and lifestyle for each person. The article that comes further mentions the role of UX design in preventive healthcare technology, and it is written by Bansi Mehta, where she mentions about the user experience design, which has been the driving force nowadays in the healthcare technology sector for the bold changes that needs to be put into the healthcare technology sector. So this healthcare delivery approach is more consumer centric than ever, with people asking for care that works best for them and pushing for personalized plan. So today healthcare technology is taking steps to design proactive system to diagnose the disease in early stages to optimize treatment outcomes, helping people to stay fit and deploy the digital tool to encourage self-management of healthcare and lifestyle behavior to prevent disease and illness. Then there is a compilation of all the latest news in healthcare by Parthvi Jain. She mentioned about the GSK launches Health Innovation Studio, which is a startup working in oral health, women health and wellness, or in mental resilience. So this startup qualified to be on board with GSK on the program to receive the guidance and offer the market opportunities as well as partnership. Then there is another news snippets that come for Pfizer, which makes big move in blood cancers with 2.3 billion trillion acquisition. So the story of blood cancer goes way back in time. Even the fossil records have shown of the effects of blood cancer and illness like leukemia, which was observed by the ancient Greeks. So the clinical diagnosis began only after the time when the first description of lymphoma was published in 1832. Then the step was taken by Pfizer to prove that an excellent support for growth opportunities for the treatment of blood cancer by applying a novel approach to cancer immunotherapy. Then there is a news article pertaining to FDA approves first drug for severe itching in chronic kidney disease patient. So pruritus is a common and distressing symptoms in patients with chronic kidney disease. So the most recent epidemiologic data have suggested that approximately there are 40% of the patients who face this severe pruritus and uremic pruritus as a clinical impact, and they are associated with the poor quality of life or impaired sleep, depression, and increased mortality. So the FDA has given relief to the patients by approving the first ever drug for severe itching in chronic kidney patients. Then there is AI blood testing technology developed to detect the lung cancer. So this pulmonary nodules was detected incidentally by chest radiography and CT scan that was ordered to investigate other diseases. So approximately 150,000 solitary pulmonary nodules were detected annually in United States of America. So the blood test purpose is to determine whether patients with lung nodules have a low or moderate risk of lung cancers. And this is or they have developed benign cancer or they have developed a malignant one. So the advance in computing combined with an increase in the amount of data collected has enabled the application of AI to develop an AI-enabled technology to detect this lung cancer. Then there is a news about the Union Health Ministry who announces a new COVID-19 vaccine tracker. So this was given by Union Health Ministry, whose efforts have been supported by the research and development capacity for developing vaccines against COVID-19, which aims to vaccinate all eligible Indians by the end of this year, but the drive needs to pick up a consistent pace to meet the target. So more than half of India's eligible population have received at least one dose of COVID-19 vaccine. So a new vaccine tracker has been installed, which has taken a step to keep a track and make sure that world's biggest vaccine drive is successfully completed in time. Then there is news pertaining to the cancer diagnosis treatment cost, which may be reduced significantly if UK trial is successful, because it is a high out-of-pocket expenditure for cancer treatment. So it is given that OOPs are defined as short form is given as out-of-pocket expenditure, or OOP are defined as direct payments made by the individuals to the healthcare providers at the time of service. So this trial is being done in United Kingdom, and if it is successful, then it will definitely be a turning point in the cancer diagnostic industry. So now we come to the book review section, where the book is reviewed by Sachin Gaur. So he mentioned about the book Gene Machine, and it is written by Venki Ramakrishnan. So here in the book, he mentioned that the best part of the book, that the author has exposed the reader to its own vulnerabilities in life by depicting himself as an ordinary researcher who happens to face many rejections and make choices which only add up in the hindsight. So the book is a great pick for young researchers in the field, and it may give them hope. So the book also shows how good science is about collaboration and competition at the same time. So he mentioned he has given his experience, and it was really very good book that inspired people who are in the research arena. So with this, I will be ending today's session for the InnoHEALTH Magazine. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Debleena, for the summary of the magazine. To read the magazine for free, please follow the link provided in the description below. To know more about the magazine, visit us at www.innohealthmagazine.com. Hope you liked our efforts for this podcast. Please share your views using the feedback link available in the description below. Have a wonderful day ahead and take care. Thank you.